The stranger slid a small silver disk across the table. No king's face, no country's seal, just a weight, a shimmer, and a silent question. "Will you accept this?" he asked. The merchant hesitated. Outside, the city buzzed with trade. Spices, silk, rumors of war. Empires rose and fell here. Coins had come and gone. Some trusted, some cursed, some forgotten. The merchant picked up the disk, bit it, weighed it in his palm, and nodded. That moment, quiet, ordinary, almost boring, contains one of the most misunderstood ideas in human history. Because what passed hands that day may have been currency, but whether it was money is another story entirely. We casually use the words money and currency as if they're twins, interchangeable, identical. Welcome to Behind the Money. We're here to decode the financial world, revealing the stories, the systems, and the power plays that define our modern era. If you've ever wondered about the real story behind wealth and influence, you're in the right place. Subscribe now, and let's uncover these secrets together. You'll never look at money the same way again. Pull a bill from your wallet, and you'd swear they're the same thing. But that assumption hides a secret so old, so powerful, that entire civilizations have collapsed for failing to understand it. Money and currency are not the same, and the difference between them has decided who eats, who starves, who rules, and who vanishes into the footnotes of history. Long before coins, before paper, before numbers written in neat columns, money existed as an idea, a promise, a shared belief. When early humans traded cattle, grain, or shells, they weren't just swapping goods. They were measuring value. They were asking a dangerous question. What is this worth to us? And will it still be worth something tomorrow? Money, at its core, is a social agreement. It's a tool to store value over time, a unit to measure worth, and a medium to exchange labor and goods. If it fails at those jobs, it stops being money no matter what it looks like. Currency, on the other hand, is simpler. Currency is what authorities issue. Coins, notes, tokens, digits on a screen. It's the physical or digital representation of value. Currency can exist without trust. It can be forced into circulation. It can be declared legal tender at the point of a sword. And that's where the trouble begins. History's first great currencies were minted in ancient Lydia around the 7th century BCE. These coins were made of electrum, a natural alloy of gold and silver. Stamped with official symbols, they promised consistency. No more weighing metal every transaction. No more haggling over purity. The coins spread like wildfire. Trade boomed. Kingdoms grew rich. But here's the twist. The real money wasn't the coin. It was the metal. People trusted the gold and silver because they were scarce, durable, and desired everywhere. The stamp helped, but it wasn't the source of value. The value existed before the government ever touched it. Empires noticed this, and empires, as it turns out, are terrible at resisting temptation. Rome mastered currency. Slowly, subtly, emperors reduced the silver content of their coins. A denarius that once gleamed with precious metal became a dull disk of mostly copper. At first, no one noticed. Or maybe they noticed and didn't want to believe it. But prices crept upward. Soldiers demanded more pay. Trust evaporated. The currency still circulated by law, but it no longer functioned as money. It could no longer store value. Saving became pointless. Spending became frantic. By the time Rome collapsed, its currency still existed. but its money was gone. This pattern repeats like a curse. In medieval China, the first paper currency was a marvel. Light, efficient, revolutionary. At first, it was backed by metal, then promises, then nothing at all. Printing presses roared. Inflation followed. Eventually, people refused the notes outright. They wanted silver again. Something real, something scarce. The paper survived. The trust did not. Fast forward to the 18th century. Revolutionary France, drowning in debt, introduced the assignat, a paper currency backed by confiscated church land. It was hailed as a brilliant solution. For a moment it worked. Then more were printed, and more and more. Within a few years, prices exploded. Bread cost fortunes. Workers were paid twice a day, so wages wouldn't become worthless by sunset. The guillotine wasn't just a political symbol, it was the sound of a society tearing itself apart after its currency stopped being money. And this is the key. Currency can be created instantly. Money cannot. Money requires trust built over time. It requires scarcity, stability, and belief. Currency only requires authority. That's why prisoners invent cigarettes as money. Why gold still whispers security in times of panic. Why in collapsed economies people turn to foreign bills, canned food, or even phone minutes. They're not rejecting currency. They're searching for money. In 1923, Germany, wheelbarrows of paper marks bought a loaf of bread. Children played with stacks of bills like building blocks. The government issued currency faster than factories could print it, but no amount of ink could print trust. The mark was currency. Bread was money. This distinction becomes even stranger in the modern world, where money is mostly invisible. Numbers on screens, digits updated by keystrokes. No gold, no silver, no physical anchor. Does that mean money no longer exists? Not exactly. Modern fiat currencies rely on something different: confidence in the issuing system, faith that taxes will be collected, that laws will be enforced, that tomorrow will resemble today closely enough for contracts to matter. When that confidence holds, currency behaves like money. When it cracks, the illusion shatters. This is why hyperinflation feels so traumatic. It's not just rising prices. It's the collapse of a shared story. The moment people stop believing the currency will hold value, it ceases to be money, even if it's still printed, still legal, still mandatory. And here's the uncomfortable part. Governments don't control money. They control currency. Money is decided by the crowd. This is why black markets thrive under strict regimes. Why unofficial exchange rates always exist. Why people hoard assets instead of cash when fear rises. It's also why new forms of money keep appearing. Gold bugs argue that precious metals are real money because no one can print them. Cryptocurrency advocates say math replaces trust in governments. Others point out that without widespread belief, even digital coins are just code. And they're all circling the same truth. Money is whatever people believe will hold value tomorrow. Currency is what you're told to use today. Sometimes the two align beautifully. Sometimes they drift apart. And when they do, history gets loud. Wars are fought. Governments fall. Fortunes vanish. New systems emerge from the wreckage. The merchant from the beginning understood this instinctively. He didn't care about stamps or decrees. He cared about weight, purity. whether someone else, somewhere else, would want that silver tomorrow. That instinct lives on in all of us. Every time you save instead of spend, every time you panic buy during a crisis, every time you choose an asset because it feels safer, you're not thinking about currency. You're thinking about money. It's personal, it's political, because currencies can be printed, minted, coded, or erased. But money, real money, exists only as long as people believe in it. Lose that belief, and all the paper in the world becomes kindling. Hold it, and even the simplest object can become priceless.